that remains the target for Real Madrid. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here, as always, to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today, guys, we have to mention Gyokeres, Šeško, Endrick, Barcelona updates, something on Joshua Kimmich. Let's jump into it together. And so guys, let me start today's video by mentioning the situation of Joshua Kimmich, one of the cases of the last 2-3 weeks on the market. Why? Because I told you 3 weeks ago that the contract of Joshua Kimmich at Bayern was almost agreed. Then in the last few weeks we had reports about Arsenal, reports about Paris Saint-Germain, reports about other clubs joining the race for Joshua Kimmich. You remember 3 weeks ago we had reports about Real Madrid. I was coming here on my YouTube channel telling you Kimmich at Real Madrid, there is nothing, because Real Madrid target number 1, 2, 3, and I told you 4 and 5, and today I can tell you 6 and 7 is and will be Trent Alexander-Arnold, so that remains the target for Real Madrid. Joshua Kimmich was never close to joining them, but also with Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, what was the situation? With Arsenal, from what I'm told, nothing really concrete, nothing really strong. People mentioned an official bid from Arsenal, but Arsenal don't even have a director now. Remember, they're talking to Andrea Berta, but there is still no final green light from the owners of Arsenal, so let's wait for the green light from the owners. They also have the option, the internal option of Jason Ito as a possibility, but again, it depends on what the owners decide to do. Berta is giving priority to Arsenal, now is on the owners. And so no bid from Arsenal. From Paris Saint-Germain, last summer PSG were showing strong interest in Kimmich. He's a player they like, but nothing advanced in the recent weeks. Why? Because Kimmich wanted to stay at Bayern. Kimmich will stay at Bayern, 2029, new contract, salary agreed, documents exchanged between the player and Bayern, now waiting to sign everything in the next days, and so Kimmich is staying, Kimmich is putting pen to paper, new deal, no Real Madrid, no Arsenal, no Paris Saint-Germain. Bayern was 2 weeks ago, Bayern will be for the next years for Joshua Kimmich, an excellent news for the club. I wanted to add something, guys, on a player like Kimmich, who can play also at right back when needed, on Barcelona, because my information today is that Barcelona internally are seriously discussing the possibility to bring in a new right back in the summer transfer window. So Barca have started this month to call around 4 right backs for the summer transfer window. It's a concrete possibility for Barca to bring in a new player in that position. Then, of course, we will wait for financial fair play to understand how much they can invest, who could be the target. So let's be calm on that. But my information is that Barca want one more player in that position. It's safe to say that Koundé is doing fantastic in that position, but probably to add one more player could be needed for Barcelona. And so right back could be a position to watch in the summer for Barcelona, because calls have started, and so that could be an interesting one, with Deco, Laporta, the club working on that possibility, discussing internally also with Hansi Flick about that option. And my information is that Barca can really go for a right back in the summer transfer window. And then remember about the striker position, because Lewandowski will see his contract extended for 1 more season, but Barca are also seriously considering to bring in 1 more striker in the summer. Already has many strikers, Real Madrid, but for the situation of Endrick, let me clarify something, guys. It's not an easy moment for Endrick. At the end of the day, when he's playing, he's scoring. In Copa del Rey, the numbers are excellent. Then in the other competitions, he's not finding a lot of space. But they are really supporting him at Real Madrid. It's about the club, the coaching staff, the directors. Also important to say how the teammates are supporting the player, Vinicius, and not only. So telling him that it takes time at Real Madrid before you can be a regular starter, before you can find a lot of game time. He's arriving from a different country, very young guy, adapting to new city, new life, new country. New club, of course, different pressure, top players in front of you, so it's completely different. But they maintain their position at Real Madrid. They believe Endrick will be a Real Madrid star. Endrick is a top player in terms of potential, and so Real Madrid have not changed their mind. We had many rumors about Italian and English clubs in the January window for Endrick. That was never a possibility. Real Madrid always closed the doors of a loan deal for Endrick in the January window, and now Real Madrid message on Endrick is in his time, of course, but we trust his skills, and so Real Madrid keep protecting the player despite all the rumors we always had about him, and we're gonna have, because you will see the name of Endrick always and always in the media, but Real Madrid message remains clear. They trust Endrick for the future of the club. They believe there are no strikers in the market. If you look at many clubs Many of them are looking for strikers. It's not easy to find, and so they will protect Endrick for the future. On striker, guys, one of the updates I gave you in the recent days is that for Gyokeres, Viktor Gyökeres, you should not follow the release clause anymore. The release clause is 100 million euros. That's the official contract. But there is a pact between the player, the agents, and Sporting directly with the president to let Viktor Gyökeres leave in the summer for a different transfer fee. So not 100 million euros, that was the fee, for example, in January, but in the summer, to respect the player who accepted to stay at Sporting for one more season, to stay at Sporting also in January despite Ruben Amorim leaving, the price will be different and will be a package worth around 65, 70, 75 million euros. So let's say between 65 and 75, based on payment terms, add-ons, and all these sort of things. So the package that Sporting could accept could be around 65 to 75 million euros. That's a very good price for one of the best strikers in Europe in terms of numbers. He's scoring an incredible amount of goals. He's showing his quality. He's showing his obsession for the goal. So Gyokeres is a fantastic striker, and many clubs around Europe are closely monitoring the situation. I don't want to come here and mention 10 clubs, but really all the top clubs in Europe are going very strong for Gyokeres in the summer, and they've been informed that this price between 65 and 75 million euros could be enough to land one of the best strikers in Europe in the summer. So many clubs calling, many clubs exploring the situation, many clubs ready to present their project to Viktor Gyökeres. So keep an eye on the situation, because Gyökeres will be for sure one to watch in the summer, and the price will be different. We had many reports about Manchester United, and the appreciation of Ruben Amorim for Viktor Gyökeres is obviously there. He loves Gyökeres, and Gyökeres loves Amorim for sure. But for Man United, we say that for Osimhen, and we say that for Gyökeres too, it depends on the budget, how much they can invest, how much they can spend, what happens with European football, Europa League, and eventually Champions League. So that's really important to understand what's next for Manchester United in terms of summer spending. And then Amorim has been very clear, sell players to bring in new players. One other player we will mention a lot in the summer is also Benjamin Šeško, because Šeško remains 100% on the list at Arsenal. Is one of the players who made the list. We know the dream target is Alexander Isak, but they also have Benjamin Šeško very high at the same level on their list, so Šeško remains a strong option. The cost is completely different. For Isak, forget about 65, 70, 75 million euros. It's going to be completely different. Newcastle insists they don't want to sell the player, but to convince Newcastle could take a crazy bid, but not 60, 65 or 70 million euros for sure. And so Šeško could be available for something around that, because the situation is completely different. And so Šeško remains a strong option for Arsenal, and not only because more clubs are following the player, more clubs are interested in the player. For example, from Chelsea, from Barcelona, they have sent their scouts multiple times in the last 6-7 weeks to follow Šeško, but Arsenal are still there. Arsenal made contact in January, Arsenal remain interested in the player, and so Arsenal could be the favorite to land Benjamin Šeško. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on all these stories. I wait for your opinion here in comments. Remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Ciao.